I must be dreaming. I finally have one. Greetings, Retro Zoltan here. For review today is the Playdate handheld from Panic. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know this is something I've been pining to get. So much so that one of my first videos looked at a really bad clone of it. A clone I wish I had kicking around today, now that I think about it. Anyway, sadly this wasn't sent to me by the company, but a very good friend of mine in the channel, TheTramaFactor, loaned this out to me and trusted me to review it without breaking it, and to not keep it forever for myself. This was my biggest challenge yet, because I have a feeling I'm going to like this a bit too much. So thank you again, TheTramaFactor. You're incredibly generous, and I won't forget this. So let's get into the usual and what it's all about. It begins with a company named Panic Incorporated, primarily known back in the day as a software publisher with a background in developing apps for Mac OS and iOS. Like, have you ever seen that Untitled Goose Game? The one where you go around being a jerk? Yeah, that one. Well, Panic was involved in helping get that published. While they were busy in the software world, they had their eyes on a Swedish-based company named Teenage Engineering, renowned for creating unique synthesizers and audio equipment, particularly at the time the OP1, a portable synthesizer that gained a strong following due to its innovative design and playful interface. Liking the cut of their jib, Panic reached out to Teenage Engineering when they decided they wanted to venture into hardware for the first time. The two companies quickly found common ground in their passion for well-designed, creative products and formed a natural partnership. Together, they set out to create something fun and unconventional, a handheld gaming device that would stand out from traditional consoles. Their goal was to make a product that felt quirky and surprising, emphasizing creativity and simplicity. The result was, of course, the Playdate, a small yellow handheld with a unique crank. And it wasn't just for looks. It was meant to serve as an innovative gameplay mechanic, adding an unexpected layer of interaction. This distinctive design, along with the black and white screen, captures the whimsical spirit that both Panic and Teenage Engineering are known for in their respective fields. So let's open this sucker. Opening the Playdate box is immediately impressive. It's like you're unpacking a Google Nest or an Apple product. They put padding to surround the items in the box, and even the cover to hold it in perfectly so it doesn't get damaged while shipping or banging around in your closet somewhere. It comes with a fairly long USB-C charging cable, and probably the first one ever I've seen that's yellow. It also comes with a small square document explaining how to get started, and that's it. Separately, you can also buy a cover for your Playdate, including one that looks like a pizza box, and to be fair, it's hilarious. The cover, as you can see, is built to cover the device perfectly, magnetically holding on perfectly aligned and providing the perfect protection. It just snaps into place, and it's not coming off easy. It's a design that's really impressive, and I have nothing to say negatively about it. It's just perfect. The Playdate, as you can see, is square and yellow with a crank. It's extremely thin, like the thickness of a pencil. I've seen it compared to the top of a Game Boy Advance SP screen, and it's spot on. I can't say there are any handheld games out there that even look close to this, especially with the crank. Okay, well, kind of. There's a fishing game out there with a crank, but you know what I mean.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Currently, the Playdate sells for an elite price of $199 plus shipping. When originally I believe it was sold for $180, it comes with 24 games, which makes the higher than usual price tag a bit easier to swallow. It only comes in yellow, which I guess in a way makes sense. It's the iconic Playdate color, so changing it now would be a bit weird at this point. Still, I wouldn't put it past them to try colors in the future. Holding the Playdate is a surprisingly satisfying experience. It feels like a precisely crafted instrument that invites a gentle touch, with a weight and design that makes it hard to put down. The D-pad by all accounts feels very good. A good size, and what I'm assuming is a rubber membrane inside under it is a perfect thickness. One thing about this sort of cross design though, it doesn't allow angles, so I doubt I'll be pulling off Mortal Kombat moves on this thing. The buttons of course feel great, and I have no complaints. It's simple, and everything is in a good place, I feel. Also on the front is a speaker, which I'm assuming is going to sound great if the Teenage Engineering business side of things has anything to say about it. And the tiny menu button above it is small and out of the way where I like it. Obviously, the most interesting and unusual thing about this is the crank. I like how it sort of folds up into the device, so it can come out for use anytime. It feels really good and not as janky as I originally expected. Turning it feels precise, and I don't have any problems with it. To note, however, I can't help but treat the crank delicately. It's not that it feels cheap or anything, it might just be in my head that I could break it. I'm not sure what my issue is here, but I hope this doesn't affect gameplay for games that really need some heavy-duty cranking. The screen, of course, isn't centered, which is a creative design I'm not upset about. Without turning it on, it's already giving me the time and battery indicator, which is nice. I'm assuming getting it brand new, it would be off completely, but from that point on, I'm assuming it goes into sleep mode when you're not using it. On the top is only the lock button, which is used to wake up or put the Playdate back into sleep mode. Cleverly, when you push it, a pair of eyes appears on your Playdate, and it looks half awake as it tells you to press it twice. This, of course, will prevent accidental pushes if it's in your pocket. On the bottom is a small microphone, an audio jack, and a USB-C charging port. Nothing else to note other than the steel round rivets responsible for holding the cover on with magnets. Official stats of the Playdate are the following. The size of the Playdate is a 76 by 74 by 9 millimeters. The display is a 2.7-inch screen that has a 1-bit black and white super reflective screen, similar to what you see on an e-reader. The CPU is a 168 MHz Cortex M7, a unique low-power processing unit used in audio processors and industrial controllers. It has 16 bits of RAM, Wi-Fi, and an accelerometer. I'm not sure what the battery milliamps are, but Playdate claims it's good for 8 hours of play and 14 days of just sitting around showing its clock and other background tasks before you need to charge it again. Depending on where you read it, you may see a Bluetooth option, but it never worked. And I think Panic gave up on that. It's not even showing on the website. Honestly, though, the only thing I could think of that would use this would be headphones. It would be nice to have, but I'm not losing sleep over it. After waking up the Playdate, you're immediately put into the screen showing your included games and the storefront. Which brings up something interesting about this product. When you buy the Playdate, it comes with 24 free games, but it doesn't give them to you all at once. You will receive 2 brand new games every week for 12 weeks. I can see many liking this idea. A new surprise, a game of the week sort of club thing. But I can see others getting upset by this. They call these games Season 1, but I don't see any other seasons off the website to buy. Considering it's been out 2 years now, they might want to consider... Oh, wait. Okay, I spoke too soon. They are doing a Season 2 for 2025. Well, better late than never, I guess. Like this review. Fortunately, you can buy games right off your Playdate that are not part of the season. That go for an average price of $2 to $3 and, of course, a ton of free ones. You can buy and install games from the Playdate or on the Playdate Games website easily. You'll need to add a payment for your account, of course, before making any purchases, but when you do, they'll magically appear on your little yellow device without fail. And if you're not into that sort of thing, you can also sideload games, which you can do wirelessly by logging onto your Playdate account and using the sideload page, or using the included USB for them to appear on your Playdate as well. After going through and playing the games, I'm impressed by the variety. There is something to be said about a system so different from the others that the games are in a way forced to be unique. Like a fishing game is an obvious choice. But what about pouring a drink? Or making a dude walk through time? There are games you've never seen before, games you've never played before, and no system that can duplicate it. Not yet, anyway. Some take full advantage of the crank while others don't, so you obviously have choices here. It's strange that these games are in black and white, and it's also strange that there's no backlit screen, but for the most part, games look amazing and developers seem to embrace the monochrome and just take it as far as it can go. It's impressive to see, and I, for one, am all about it. I found myself downloading and playing all sorts of games. And if you like exploring new games, if you're an indie game freak, this device is most likely going to entertain you for quite a while. Controls, for the most part, are perfect. Despite my reservations about being delicate with the crank, those illusions go away once I start playing the games and forget that I have to give this back to TheTramaFactor. Crap, did I just say that out loud? A small thing that may matter to you is the comfort after long bouts of gameplay. The crank is fun, but to use it you sort of have to clamp down on part of the Playdate, and if you have to use buttons at the same time it becomes awkward. You will find your playing style, all while holding it all together so you can play certain games, but in the long run it may feel awkward and uncomfortable. I'm not sure how to solve this other than taking breaks, so it's worth noting. Everything is fun and great, but there is one thing, just one thing that everyone complains about. The screen. Look, it's beautiful. It's very reflective, but it's still hard to see unless if you hold it at the perfect angle and the perfect light. It's hard to find that lighting sweet spot, but when you do, it's incredible. But for the most part, that factor's annoying. For real, there were times I was itching to play, but I was comfortable sitting somewhere that had poor lighting. So I just moved on to something else. It really needs backlighting. This thing is screaming for it. Sound, as expected, is brilliant, and I have nothing negative to say here. While I love headphones, they're hardly necessary here. It's clear that teenage engineering influence made sure this was perfect. So one thing you may be wondering is, what about emulation? Can it run emulators? like will it run original Game Boy games? You would think this option would be a no-brainer. But so far, emulators available for this thing are missing sound or are too slow. Sorry, Bill and Ted.
Bogus.
I'm not sure why this is exactly. Perhaps it's hard to do on the Playdate, or perhaps it's not powerful enough. Still, honestly, for this I'm much more interested in the unique games that developers are popping out. And there's quite a bit. With the Playdate catalog and itch.io, you can fill your Playdate pretty quickly. You can search the categories, for instance, if you want games that didn't use the crank. Or go through the apps and install an e-reader that uses a crank to flip pages. There are even staff picks if you're into that sort of thing. I was when I used to rent from Blockbuster anyway. Why not? Which reminds me of something I should certainly talk about. The community. The community of people using and developing for the Playdate are great and very involved, with no end in sight from what I can see. Want to develop a game for the Playdate? It's music to Panic's ears as they give you every possible resource to get you going. An amazing development tool I found off the Playdate website called Pulp is just fun and super intuitive. It's all web-based, so there's no complicated setup. Just open it up in your browser and you're ready to go. I loved how easy it was to draw pixel art and put together little animations without needing any advanced programming skills. Pulp's interface makes it simple to experiment, and I quickly got the hang of the building mechanics. Honestly, it feels like anyone can dive in and create something unique with it, even if they're new to game development. So overall, what do I think of the Playdate? The Playdate is adorable and has a personality, and it's a brilliant piece of hardware, but it could be better. I suspect once things settle eventually, once the Playdate has run its course, they will come up with a better and hopefully backwards compatible version of this amazing hardware. Is a backlit one in its future? More power? Perhaps color? It's hard to tell, but for now it's a pleasure to fiddle around with this thing, and I've even been entertained in making a game for this in my spare time, like I have any. Still, with its little flaws, if you're the curious sort, if you like to explore new things, new hardware, a gadget lover, it's of course a device for you. I don't see anyone pulling this out to entertain themselves on a bus trip, but I can certainly see this laying on someone's desk just waiting for more games to arrive, to distract you from the things you probably should be doing, like finishing a review. If you're not careful, you can really dive into the Playdate world and never come out. There's so much to do and so much to look at. Hell, there's even an official podcast. You've been warned. And that's all I have to say about the Panic Playdate. If you like this sort of thing, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you think I'm worthy, I have a Patreon so I can keep doing this for years to come. If you'd like to chat about this sort of thing with like-minded individuals, there's also a Discord. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.